Oh, yes.
Welcome back, once again and finally. Today I am very excited to bring you my review for the combined Transformers Studio Series Devastator, who has taken about a year and a half and over $200 to finally complete. In today's review, I'm going to go over the transformations from all of the Constructicon's vehicle modes to their combined configuration, put it all together, and we're going to show off Devastator himself. For those not in the know, Devastator is comprised of 8 Constructicons, and we actually have 9 here, with the characters Rampage and Skipjack being interchangeable as one of his legs. So I will show both of those options off today, though I will point out that Skipjack really is the default choice based on the character's movie portrayal. So a quick refresher for anyone that doesn't quite remember who all these guys are. Right here you have Overload, who's one of the newest releases, Long Haul, Scrapper, Mixmaster, Rampage, Hightower, Skipjack, Scrap Metal, and Scavenger. So a lot of these guys share names with the classic Generation 1 Constructicons. Others are brand new or taken from somewhere else. So I expect this to be a very long review because I am going to be demonstrating the transformation for all, well, I'll say 8 of these 9 guys. I'm just going to show off Skipjack's, and then Rampage is just going to be the same. And then once we get through that, if you want to watch it, cool. If you don't, then skip ahead. We'll finally get our look at the long-awaited Devastator. We'll check out, his stability, his articulation. I'm going to test whether or not he can achieve any sort of quadrupedal mode like he has in the movies without having to, mess up his default configuration. I'm not big on fan moding. So if it takes too much, I'm just going to leave him as is. I may do a little surprise group shot just for fun, and then at the end of the video, of course, I'll be giving my final thoughts. So now let's go ahead and start with the transformations. So I decided I'm going to do this in alphabetical order, which means we're going to start with one of our smallest guys, Hightower. So you got him here in his vehicle mode. First thing I'm going to do is take his big old combiner peg, stretch it straight out like so, and we're going to pop his treads off. Just spread them out a bit. All right, then you're going to bend it here to get this tab out on both sides. So you can rotate the treads a bit, and you're going to bring them back in, now having this tab go into this slot right here. So you're going to put the treads back in and just have them be going at a diagonal now, like so. Make sure you get it nice and tight, like that. Then you want to pull the robot head out, just kind of extend it straight out like this. Bring it down like so. We're going to remove this claw from here. We're going to plug it into the back of the robot head like this. It's going to form like a thumb, you can see. And then you just bring this around, and you're going to flip this down so you got this hole showing, because that's going to be used for a connection. All right, so we have him here. We're just going to set him aside. All right, next up we have Long Haul. So you want to take him, and take these sides of his dump truck bed and just pull him out. Separate them like so. And attach from here. Pull them straight back. And you're gonna pull these panels outward. Like this. Take his wheels. Just attach them, bring them up and out. Flip these panels around. So the longer side is facing forward now. And over here, I'm gonna rotate these thigh panels outward, just out to the side, like that. Now, you're gonna detach the legs from this top part and swing them straight up, like so. Now we're gonna close these I want to make sure these arms stay attached to the pegs. You want them back on there. Like that, and like that. Okay. Hold in place. Then you're gonna close these panels up to where these tabs are these slots on the panels. So just make sure you're getting it right. Do the same thing here. Push them in until they're nice and flush. All right, so go like that, and everything should line up just swimmingly. All right, back here for the heel, you're gonna bring it all the way down. It's actually gonna help support the weight. And then you just swing the wheels down, just kind of out of the way, filling out the back there. And that's it. That's the leg mode. A little wobbly, because this ratchet has some give on it, but it does have set positions. So this will probably be the least stable of the legs, but yeah, it is what it is. Looks nice. All right, next up on the list we have Mixmaster, who, if you don't know, forms Devastator's head. So give a bit of a sneak peek at his mug. All right, first thing you want to do, you want to remove the front end of the truck. Just set it aside. Isn't he pretty? All right, now you want to separate the back halves of Mixmaster, which are also his robot arms. All right, and just there you go. Swing them out to the side. Pretty much keep everything in place like it was. You want to take the smokestacks, swing them down right now, like so. Yeah. These top little barrel shells, you're gonna rotate them up, just like that. All right, now let's spin this guy around. We're gonna lift up the top of the truck like this. You got little panels in here for detailing. You just want to swing them all the way out. You're gonna swing the top of Devastator's head out like so. And he's got some panels here you want to fold out. Just like that. Now close the top of the truck, and then bring Devastator's head back. And you see you got tabs on these panels that'll plug into slots on these. Just make sure they line up. Plug them nice and tight. And there you go, ugly as the day he was born. All right, now coming back to the arms, you want to swing his hands as far down as they go, like this and that. You can now bring his smokestacks back up, put it back to the vehicle mode position. They're gonna stay there. All right. Now, let's spin them around. And this little piece right here, this little stands, whatever you call them, spin them until they point down. I was afraid I'm going to break this one, it's so tight. All right, but you get it just like that. And you take his legs, separate them, and then make him do a big split like this. Bring them down at the secondary joint, like you put them in robot mode. All right. Right now, you want to take this lower body, rotate it up a bit like this, bring the legs up, out of the way. All right, going back to his arms, you're going to take these pieces, fold them all the way in, and then you take these pieces, separate them, just kind of swing them all the way forward like this, right? So do the same thing here. Just get it kind of forward, out of the way. Keep these in place. All right. Then you fold them in so they're just kind of laying flat, like so. And these guys, you want to bring them all the way in and back down. So you get this little compressed cement drum thing going on, just like that. Now it's time to swing the arms inward, and you want to do it to where these little pegs plug into these holes here. So make sure you line everything up just right. Make sure the arms are correctly positioned. There we go. There's one side. Gotta make sure everything stayed in place like it should. Bring this in. Now you gotta make sure everything lines up as you piece this together. This is one of the harder steps in the Devastator transformation. So you have a lot of pieces and parts that have to line up perfectly. Alright, so there we go. Everything's nice and firm. It's all in place. Just like this. Now we are going to take his legs, fold them up, and you want it to where his little tips of his toes plug into these little grooves here between the wheels. Just get them in there as nicely as they'll go. It's not going to plug in very firmly. It's really just going to hold them in place more than anything. And make sure the arms stay straight. Everything's normal, cool. Now the last step for this guy, we're gonna go ahead and plug the front of his truck into these little slots right here. So you have to fiddle with it to get them to line up the way you need. Just kind of work it in there carefully, try not to mess up the arms or knock anything out of place. All right, there we go. So here it is. This is Devastator's head. And pretty horrific looking, huh? But that's what it's going to look like as it gets attached, and then get the vortex grinder on top. Alright, next up is Big Chungus himself, Overload. So let's go ahead. You're going to remove the vortex grinder from the top, and you're just going to set that way off to the side for much later. Alright, you're going to take the bed of the truck, you're going to separate it. You're going to get it out like so. And you're going to rotate each piece 90 degrees toward yourself if you're holding it like this. Then bring it all the way back. It's got one more little click on the ratchet there. And then you're going to bend them another 90 at the second ratchet, like so. Then go ahead, rotate this part inward. It's also on a pretty healthy ratchet, so give it some force. Alright, kind of see everything starting to come together, right? Alright, flip it around. Alright, you're going to take his top arms or claws or whatever, untab them, and you're going to rotate them backwards, like this. Do the same thing here. Get it loose. Remove stray dog hairs from your very furry dog. Alright, so we got this. And we want to do that little bend here at the hinge. And there's a little piece right here, a little silver piece you want to just swing up. There and there. And that's going to kind of support this and keep it from collapsing down or anything. Minor pieces, but very important. All right, then you're gonna bring these down and up like so, and then fold them in on themselves. Oops, like this. Looks like, yeah, you basically want to bend this joint as far as it goes and then just fold it from there. So you do the best positioning. All right, so you got that. Then we're gonna swing these back in. All right, so you got it on there. Now it's gonna tab in. See, there's a tab there and there's a little slot on that smaller arm. Just gonna make sure they go in just right. If everything's held in place. Okay. We got it there. And also, you want the wrists to tab in here at the top. You want it at this hole that's closer to the edge there. So I guess that's how we determine the perfect way to position those hands. All right, so same thing on this side. Just do what you gotta do to reposition it. Make sure everything stayed tabbed in on the back. All right. So there's like the lower part, it's all done, taken care of. Now we wanna detach this piece, swing it back like so. Swing the wheels outward, and then you're going to separate his robot legs. Bring him out. His head is saying hi, hello. You're going to swing this back up. Just need to separate him more. There you go. All right. Just like that. And you want to take this piece, swing it up, push it back to the middle, and close it back up right there. And then you're going to straighten this out, where it's pointing straight up, and then bend here at a 90. So you're going to end up with something that looks like this. And that is as far as we go for now with Overload. So you can see how this is kind of forming up. All right, now we have the bot who's currently in a legal battle with the Autobot Wheelie for his name. And this is, of course, Scavenger. So start Scavenger off, go ahead, flip him upside down. Take his robot head and flatten it back out, point outward. Flip it back. You're gonna lift this panel, lift that up out of the way, and you are going to swing his arms out. So you want to separate them at each connection point. So start from the bottom here. Go ahead, get it pulled apart. Try not to pop anything off if you can help it. All right. You're gonna get these panels to come loose, like so. All right, so you got them swung out to the sides, and looks like, let's go ahead and close them all the way up, actually. So there's a secondary hinge here. So get that hinge to pop off, push it all the way, and then get these to tab in. So we're kind of going toward robot mode here. Plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. All right, so you got this. Now go ahead, rotate this guy up. And then you're gonna take the arms and just bring them up like this. All right, so the arms up. All right, take the hands or the scoops, swing them back like this. And then swing these pieces all the way forward. And there's two hinges. And you just want to push it until this little bit here goes inside of his wrist and it'll snap into place. So just do the same thing here. Rotate it like you need to. Pop it in. All right, so we got that. Now you want to rotate these at the bicep. Get the scoops on top. Just like so. And then we are going to swing these guys down until they tab in at the bottom here. If he'll let us. There we go. Not really want to play ball. There you go. Some tight pegs there. Now that we've done that, we are going to swing more panels out. So you take these main panels, swing them out to the side, like so. And take the treads, bend them up, like you're making these wheels again. Just like that. And you're gonna pop these side wheels free from that center one. Flip it over, close this back up. All right, so you're gonna flip this upside down, and And then you're going to rotate the middle assembly up a little bit, just to kind of move it out of the way of these wheels. You're going to rotate them out to the sides like so. Flip, let's see, get them to where you can reach this part, flip it up. Same thing here. That. Rotate them to where the halves that are pointing up face each other and press them together like so. Alright, so flip this forward, and now you need to get these little armature bits, whatever we're going to call them, rotate back up against the wheels. So just do that, push them as far as they'll go. So they just kind of get stopped by the back wheels there. You do that. Take this little panel, flip it down all the way. Go ahead and, if it hasn't already gone that way, just flip this in until it collapses in like so. Turn this wheel 90 degrees, and then you want to push it down. And again, make sure these haven't popped up if you can help it. You want them to be pretty flush. All right. So we got all this going on right here. Now you take these and you're going to rotate them down one click. And the idea is to get this piece to plug in right here. That'll kind of hold everything together. So doing on both sides. And voila. Yep. I'm smooth. All right, so this is the upper body and shoulders. So time to move on. Okay, next up on our list is scrap metal, another little guy. So go ahead, remove his little shield or panel, whatever you're gonna call it. Get to pop off there if you can, if it lets you. There we go. Wanted to fight me a bit. All right, you're gonna set this aside, and we'll see that in a little bit. All right, now next we need to get this assembly to come up to the top. So you just kind of grab it, and you're gonna rotate it up and in, like so. Kind of have it resting on the top of the vehicle. And you're gonna straighten it out, like this, and rotate it backwards. And you want to turn this 90 degrees on its little ball joint. This is another ball joint with a stem that I'm afraid it's going to break one of these days. And then you take the little scoop part, rotate it out. This is going to become a finger. All right, the same thing here. I'm going to untab this from the side, lift it up, rotate, and flip the little scoop thing out. Or claw, or whatever you want to call it. Now we've got two fingers. Now you go ahead, take the shovel arm, rotate it all the way back, and make it yet another finger. Pretty simple, right? Gotta be the easiest transformation here. All right, now you're gonna take this little peg, and you have to flip it out. And I don't know about you, but on my copy it's really hard, so may have to do a jump cut right about now. All right, so whenever you manage to get this out by whatever means necessary, go ahead, just kind of straighten it out there. Over here, you want to lift these little feet kind of up and away, not far, just to get some clearance here. And then you want to take these pieces and rotate them outward a little bit, while still keeping the legs tabbed in, which may be a little hard to do. There we go. Okay. Same thing here. All right, and that just allows the fingers to spread a little bit more. Again, make sure these stay completely plugged in. And here you go. This is one of the hands. All right, now time for other scrap guy. This is Scrapper. So we're gonna take him, and the first thing we wanna do is separate the ends of his shovel there. Just kind of swing him out to the side. You wanna turn him around. You wanna attach his back wheels. Just swing them out at a bit of an angle like that. Next, we're going to flip it over. Now this little piece right here just needs to be swung all the way out like that. And we're going to flip them around again. We're going to go ahead and spin these bits around like this, where the little scoops are now facing up. And spin them back around. You want to attach this differently from how you had it. So see, there's a slot right there, and these will plug into these grooves. So you want it just kind of swung down at an angle a little bit. Get there nice and tight. Like this. And you want to swing these forward a bit. Swing the scoops down. And take this piece, fold it down onto here, and bring the claws back out. You know, take this little cockpit piece and just simply untab it, leave it out at an angle like so. And we're gonna extend the combiner peg here, get it ready for combination. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the other arm and hand. I don't like it as much as the other one, but you know, it serves its purpose, I guess. It does something. Okay, now for our final member, we're going to do Skipjack. And again, if you're using Rampage instead, it's going to be the same transformation, so you know, it's still going to work. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to flip him up, pull his treads down, like so, and go ahead and remove his little stand piece. And set that off to the side for much later. And now what we want to do is take these little pieces right here, swing them down. So we're going to untab them from the scoop there. Just get them to face us like this. And swing these pieces back up against the side of the shovel. And we are going to bring the arms up like so. Go ahead, close these panels, get them out of the way. And now this part's going to be interesting. You have to take these fingers, bring them up, kind of put them alongside the treads there. Like that. And then take these wheel assemblies, swing them all the way up as far as they'll go. Don't put too much force. So next, you want to take the little thumb pieces, just swing them forward 90 degrees, like so. And we're gonna pull these bits down, separate them from that half of the treads, like this. All right. And then next, we want to rotate these forward. Make sure you have everything out of the way for clearance sake. Just like this. All right, then you're gonna push these back up. You're gonna rotate these guys all the way around. So readjust, rotate like so. Go ahead and push the little thumb bits downward. And then we are just gonna finish rotating these around. And make sure you got all the clearance you need, everything's out of the way, and you'll get it looking like that. So, same thing here, just like so. All right, so you should have it like this with the claws facing forward, and then just push them against the rest of the treads like that. Go ahead, bring the claws up. Now that you've gotten everything where it should be, you're gonna rotate these guys back down and just get them kind of sitting flush with everything like this. All right, and it's a lot of very careful positioning. This guy's kind of a pain in the butt. All right, now I want to take this section here, swing it straight down like this. And now you're going to bring these arms forward, and the idea is to get these two gray bits to plug into each other like so. So everything's kind of starting to make sense now, right? Yeah, make sure that kind of on the upper arms, they tab in the sides a little bit. Nothing tight, just to kind of hold them in place. Okay, now for these, we're gonna rotate these back. Swing these back out to the side, so you make everything nice and solid again. This, actually, I almost messed up. So the instructions are a little wrong here. They tell you to have the wheels out like this. I'm glad I just remembered this. So you don't want that. You want them down at the lowest peg. You don't want them sticking out past the treads once we pull the treads down. And glad I caught that before I got too far. Had to back out, yeah. Okay. Is it in there? Looks like it's in there. All right. So go ahead, close the treads out. Make sure they tab in and push this up. You don't want any wheels, you know, messing with the feet. He's not on roller skates. This is a solid foot. All right, next you're gonna take this little belly piece, open it up, and you're gonna swing it up. You don't want to bring this whole hinge part up. Just leave that part forward and leave just this up. And then you're gonna do kind of a two-part motion. You're gonna bring this forward toward the head, but you're also gonna start kind of bending this. And you're looking for something like this. Here you go. So you want to kind of collapse down on itself. And here we go. This is the final piece of Devastator. So we've got all that. I think you all know what time it is. All right. So we've got all of our members ready to go. The only thing that's left for us to do is to assemble everything. So let's start with the arms. So we'll take Scrapper here and plug him in to the upper torso, utilizing this connection point right there. I'm just going to push it down so it locks into place as well as it can. And there you go. There's one arm. Now the other arm, a little more complex because it's actually two members. But we'll go ahead. We'll attach our guy at the shoulder, like so. Push everything down. All right. Now, get this arm together here. So come around. Now this part's kind of a pain because you need to get this peg inside of this little black piece. And they both swing around, right? So you gotta apply the right force in the right direction and hope you don't swing something in too far. So it might take you a moment. All right, looks like I got it. So push it all the way in, like so. And here we go. That's the other arm with the thumb, which the tip just fell off of. So one thing I just noticed, the instructions for this guy, individually were wrong. So you want this to actually just rotate back out of the way like so. We're also going to go ahead and bring this back a click, or well, it doesn't click, but twist back. All right, now we're going to attach the legs. So on this side, you have this like guide rail. It's going to go right over this piece right here. You're going to take it and push it down. And it's kind of working on there. All right, well that took quite a bit of force. Not gonna lie. That may be hard for you to get on because you got to slide it like all the way down. So we got it, and then I guess this piece you just kind of push up against the back of the thigh here. It doesn't lock in or anything; it just kind of sits there. All right, now here, it is actually meant to be plugged right there. So everything has a place, and because it matches, this color on the leg, it works a lot better than Rampage. So let's go ahead and do this other side now. And it also utilizes some sort of a guardrail. In this case, we have two right here, and you're going to use these bits of legs to slide it on. Let's see how that compares to the other one, because the other one was a pain in the butt. Okay, Alright, once you get it in there, it slides in a lot more easily than the skipjack one. So that's good. Just push it all the way up. Alright, perfect. Now, I'm going to haunch this over a little bit. Everything stands like it should. Alright, one thing I want to point out real quick before we continue. I didn't really touch on this, but here, you can see this is where Skipjack's little stand goes. Right, plugs into this hole right here on his butt. And you want it to where the little foldable piece right here, pointing up, so that you can fold it down. Otherwise, it's going to be in the way when we do our next step, which is attaching the upper body. Take a big old hunk of plastic right here. And the way we're going to do this, you see this groove right here in the tire. It's going to slide onto that rail. So pretty simple. Just take it, make sure you got all the right clearance, glide it on there to the rail. Things out of the way if you have to. We're on. Now just slide down. There we go. So you can slide all the way down. Let's turn this around. This piece you're going to push up against here, and it's got a couple tabs to get to plug in securely. There we go. Just like that. Oops. Knocked his butt thing off. This mess around here. Alright, let's go ahead and move these out of the way for a moment. Just kind of swing them down. Because we want to attach the head. And the way we're going to do that, as you can see, these slots right here are going to attach to these tabs way at the top of Devastator's shoulders. Oh yeah, make sure his Mixmaster's hands are like pointing up, so out of the way. Alright. Here. So, it doesn't really show it in the instructions, but there's like these holes on the insides of the wheels that are going to clamp down around this. That's what this piece is for. And it just helps stabilize everything. So, and it may take some wriggling, things may come loose, so just be mindful. Attach everything. Right, so now we want to stabilize the torso a bit. These wheels out to the side, we're just going to fold them back a little, as far back as they'll go. Now these pieces we need to bring up. Now, top everything off. King needs his crown after all. And just go ahead, push it on, and it should more or less lock into place. And at last, we have arrived. So we have our fully constructed Studio Series Devastator. And he really is a big boy. He's not the tallest thing out there, but he's got tons of mass to him. His posability is pretty phenomenal. Head doesn't really move so much. It's all locked in place, but the jaw does go up and down. It's good. He's got these shoulders that kind of swing forward and back. There aren't ratchets, which I wish were a little stronger because his arms are so heavy. Rotates here, bends at those little combiner joints. Of course, the hands move all around depending on what sort of finger configuration they have. And his hips, they can go in and out, up and down. And he's got ratcheted ankle tilt as well. And you can always kind of adjust the bend of his legs too, depending on what you want to do. So, this guy, he's very heavy. I really wish there was some sort of way to lock everything in up here. There doesn't seem to be. I went and kind of peeked at other reviews just to see, and nobody seems to have found a way to lock these pieces against something, keep his upper body a little more solid. So, not really sure what's going on with that. But yeah, this guy, he just looks nasty, but in a good way. Like, he looks like he's ready to just mess somebody up. And I absolutely love it. I think this thing looks fantastic. Now, as far as putting him on all fours, you can do it, but you kind of run into some issues. And then let's take a look. So obviously the first thing you'd want to do is, bring his legs forward, because that's how you're going to get him to face down. And you need to move arms and things around. Whatever needs to happen here. Lost his little butt decoration. Okay. So you can see, you can get him hunched over. You can even get him supporting his weight a bit. So that's good. However, the problem you run into is that there's no way to lift his head up. That's the big issue. At least, per the official transformation. Now, I have seen some people get a little creative and really manipulate the way that Mixmaster is attached, but it seems to make for a very, unsteady configuration, and I just don't really want to go to that length, if you know what I mean. Here's a quick look with Rampage replacing Skipjack in the configuration, just so you can see how a lot of people are going to end up displaying their Devastator. And it looks okay. I mean, it kind of makes his foot match his leg a little more, though the shade of red used is quite different. Rampage's red is more of an orangish color than the red that's used for Overload and Scavenger here. So personally, I think Skipjack just looks way better. So I am happy they did finally give us a yellow bulldozer Constructicon to just make all that work. Though, maybe you have a different preference. Maybe you like this more. Now, it wouldn't be right to do a Devastator review without matching him up with the OG version. So this is, Combiner Wars Devastator, which is a remake of the original. And the contrast between these two is striking. Whereas one is very tall, very humanoid, stands almost like, a stoic sentry. The other is just broad, bestial, very savage looking. And while the original Devastator is not really known for his composure or intelligence, he does look a lot less feral and possibly out of control than the movie version, live action version. So, it makes for just a really fun contrast between an original concept and then what happens when you let Michael Bay get a hold of it. Okay, and I think that's going to kind of bring us home on this review. I had a lot of fun looking at this guy with you all. And unlike a lot of my reviews, my transformation for this video was the first time I ever did it. So, all of my reactions, impressions are as genuine as they can get. So that kind of brings us to, what are the final thoughts on this toy? Overall, I love it, right? I mean, this thing really is something that you can tell the designers put a lot of love, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making. It took a long time for this to be made. I still remember the early mock-ups for Devastator, which looked, admittedly a fair bit different than the final product we got, because once you start coming up with all these different characters and components, everything has to work out a certain way. Not everything's going to go exactly as you envisioned from a design perspective. As far as, how solid he is very solid. Luckily, they use very beefy ratchets, especially in his hips. I do worry about how the ankle ratchets will hold up over time. We'll just have to wait and see. The arms, again, the shoulders are a bit weak. They're ratcheted, but they could definitely stand to be stronger. These ratchets here, which would be, I guess, like the elbows, they're pretty strong. They're nice and beefy, so that's good. It is a shame the head doesn't have more articulation, but the flip side of that is that it's locked in very tightly, so that's good. I also really wish there was a way to get these pieces here to kind of lock into the shoulders or something, just to make this a little more solid, make it not flop around as much. But despite that, it holds together very well. The connections that are there are very solid, so it's a pretty minor nitpick. I do like the fact that we were given the option to swap out Rampage for Skipjack if we wanted to. I wish that there were a good way to make him go on all fours. I do wish that had been engineered in there in a certain way, though that probably would have required some reworking of his hands because his, hands and fingers, they're not very strong. They can't really support a lot of weight, so I can imagine this toy kind of flopping forward a bit as those give way. So I think this is kind of a good compromise. He does stand on his hind legs, but he's still very haunched over. Like you could imagine him just, leaning forward and crawling toward you. So again, compromise, but I think the end result just looks nice enough to where I think it's forgivable. Now, for those of you that follow third-party products, there is a third-party offering out there at very high end, extremely complex, very expensive, and it does create a Devastator that's a little more proportional, a little more screen accurate looking than this guy. But it's going to run you a lot more than what this does. And this is already a few $100s. So, I don't do third party. If that's your bag, cool. Maybe you want to invest in that. Again, I'm going to run you a pretty penny, so just be aware of that. But for me, I'm fully satisfied with this Devastator that we got. And he is going to look absolutely fantastic on my Studio Series shelf. So, yeah, I think that's it. I have said my piece. Now, as always, I want to know what you all think. Do you like this Devastator? Is it everything that you hoped it would be? Is there anything you would change about it? If you think you realistically could. Do you think that he's worth the price for what you're getting? And also, let me know what you thought of the review. It's a long one. Put a lot of time trying to make it the best that I can, so let me know your criticisms. Did I miss something? Did I mess something up? Any and all feedback is always, always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know that you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I try to post often. Sometimes life gets in the way, but I always end up coming back to you guys. I thank you for joining me for this very long overdue look at Studio Series Devastator. Real happy you can all join me today. And with all that said, I will see you next time.